Recording in
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Text number 24. Sajam
Prabhuji, we can't hear you. Can you put your volume up, please?
Shri Kulam. The volume seems to be okay here. You're not able to hear it all, Mataji?
Very slightly.
Um, ki- would you give me a minute while I just get my maybe try with that?
Okay.
Sorry, Mataji, just in a minute. I'm just trying.
Oh, that's getting better now.
Getting better. It's okay now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Prabhuji. You can start, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Srajami tapasvedam tapasaivedam grasami tapasa puna bibarmi tapasa vishwam vidyam me dustaram tapa.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is the penance only.
Text number 25. Brahmo Vacha. Bhagavan Sarva Bhutanam Adyaksho Vastito Guhan Veda Haya Pratiruddena Prajnanena Chikirshitam.
Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity's heart as supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever.
Text number 26. Tatapi Nata Manasya Nata Nataya Natitam Paravare Yata Rupe Janiyam Tetve Arupina.
In spite of that, my lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all.
Text number 27. Yatatma Maya Yogena Nana Sukriti Nana Sakte Upabrimhitan Vilumpan Vishrijan Grihnan Vibrad Atmanam Atmana.
And And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintenance by combination and permutation.
628. Kridasi Amogha Sankalpa Urnanabir Yatornute Tatatad Visayan Dehi Manisham Mayi Madava.
O Master of all energies, please tell me, philosophically, all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible.
6929. Bhagavat Shikshitam Aham Karavani Hai Atandrita Nehamana Praja Sargam Badyayam Tad Anugrahat.
Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities. without being conditioned by such activities.
6:30. Yavat saka sakyur iveshate krita praja visarga vibhajami bo janam aviklavaste parikarmani sito mames samunada madajamani nanaha.
O my Lord, the unborn, you have shaken hands with me, just as a friend does with a friend, as if equal in position. I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of living entities, and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation, but I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the supreme.
6:31. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Paramaguhyam me Yadvijnana Samanvitam Sahasrasyam Tad Anugamcha Grihnana Gaditam Maya.
The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully.
6:32. Yavan Aham Yata Bhavo Yadrupa Guna Karmaka Tataiva Tattva Vijnanam Astute Mad Anugrahat.
All of me, namely, my actual internal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awaked within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy.
6:33. Aham eva samav eva gre nanyad yad sada satparam paschad aham yad etaccha yo vasishyat somayam aham.
Brahma, it is, the personality of Godhead, who is existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead.
6:34. Ritiritam yat pratiyate na pratiyata chatmani yad tad vidyad atmano mayam yatta basho yata tamaha.
O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness.
6:35. Yata mahanti bhutani bhute susatvache anu pravishantani pravistani apravistani tata teshu na teshvaham.
O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything.
6:36. Etavat eva jignasyam tattva jignasunatmana anvaya vyatirekyabhyam yatsya sarvatra sarvada.
A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this. In all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly.
6:37. Etan matan samatista paramena samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu na vimuhyati karahichat.
O Brahma, just follow this conclusion by fixed concentration of mind, and no pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation.
6:38. Sri Sukha Uvacha Sampradisya ajano jnana jananam paramestinam pasyatastasya tadrupam atmano nyuranadari. 6:39. Sri Sukha Uvacha Sampradisya ajano jnana jananam paramestinam pasyatastasya tadrupam atmano nyuranadari. 6:40. Sri Sukha Uvacha Sampradisya atmano jnana jananam paramestinam pasyatastasya tadrupam atmano nyuranadari.
Sukadeva Goswami said to Maharaja Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after being seen in his transcendental form, instructing Brahmaji, the leader of the living entities, disappeared.
639. Atarhitendriyartaya haraya vihitanjita sarvabhutamayo vishwam sasarjedam sa puravavat.
On the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is object of transcendental enjoyment for the sensual devotees, Brahma, with folded hands began to recreate the universe full with living entities as it was previously.
640. Prajapatir dharmapatir ekada niyamam yaman badram prajanam anvichan atistat swartakamaya.
Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities.
641. Tam narada priyatamo
Just started.
Riktadanam anuvrata susramana hilena
Mhm.
susramana malpelena rasrayena damena cha.
Narada, the most dear of all the inheritor sons of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his manly behavior, meekness, and sense control.
642. Mayam vividasan Vishnur Maya Sesya Mahamunir Mahabhagavato Rajan Pitaran Paryato Sayat.
Narada, very much pleased his father, and decided to know all the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies, for Narada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king.
43. Tustam Nisamya Pitaram Lokanam Dasa Lakshanam Proktam Bhagavata Praha Priti Putraya Bhutakrit.
The great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father, Brahma, the great-grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied.
Tasma idam bhagavatam puranam dasa lakshanam proktam bhagavata praha priti putraya bhutakrit.
Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father, Brahma, to his son Narada.
645. Narada prahamanaye saraswatyas tate vripa jayate brahma paramam vyasayatmita tejasa.
In succession, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of River Saraswati.
646. Yad uttaham tvaya kristo vairajat pura sad idam yatashit tad upakshayate prasnan anyam sta krishnasa.
O king, your questions as to how the universe became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Shyam Prabhuji and Shavin Prabhuji. Very beautiful recitations of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very blissful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we shall quickly move into Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 9, verse number 34. So before we start Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversations on Srimad Bhagavatam, so we shall offer Mangalacharan prayers. Oh. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशाम्। हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। सप्तकाञ्चन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकास स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः सृज्यन्तस्त्वह्य भद्राणि विधुनोति सुप्रसतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। एते चां सकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधन्यं स्वस्तये नमः। कृष्णे स्वदामोपगत धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह कलो न सदृशमेषा पुराणार्कोऽदिनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजङ्ग्रये। अति विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशिमिं चिन्निधुं पाणिषुरिष्णुषु त्वयि मेनन्य विषया मतिर्मदपते सकृत् रतिमुद्वाहत रद्ध गङ्गे वभूमुदन्वति। श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सखा विष्णु ऋषभावनिधृग्राजन्योंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्यहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन्नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन्नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन्नमस्ते। तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य मत्येनं किमुत शशः। पुनश्च भूयात् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गश सदाश्रयेषु महस्तुयां यामुप्यामि सृष्टिं मैत्रस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः। ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः। ॐ हरे कृष्ण। Thank you so much, dear devotees, so for kindly giving association, and we shall speak few words on Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Okay, I shall share my screen. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Brahma, after his meditation, the Lord has appeared in front of Brahma, and then Lord asked Brahma, so varam varaya badhram te vareshama bhivanchitam brahman shreyaha parishramaha pumsam madhashanavadihi. So he is asking, so ask all the benedictions, whatever you want. And also he says, he gives the instruction that so at the end of all meditations and austerities, one has to come to my abode and enjoy all the opulences along with me. Likewise, in the association of Krishna. So likewise, the Lord says to Brahma. And then Brahma started asking questions. My dear Lord, how do you expand your energies? How do you appear in this material world? Likewise, so many questions he has put in front of the Lord. So as a inquisitiveness within. So, and also he was saying, because the Lord has given handshake with Brahma, so and he was saying that he doesn't want to get any pride within him. And then likewise he was mentioning, now the Lord started speaking to Brahma. So Lord immediately he started saying that Jnanam param guhyam me yed vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha Gruhana Gaditam Maya, O Brahma. So Jnanam Paramaguhyame, the confidential knowledge, Yad Vidhan Samanvitam, scientifically, Yad Vidhan Samanvitam, all this knowledge, Sarahasyam, and which is most confidential, Sarahasyam, which is secret, Tadangam Cha, and all the associated knowledge with it. So Gruhana Gaditam Maya, so I am giving that knowledge to you. So take this knowledge, and saying that yavanham yata bhavo yadrupa gunakarmakaha tataiva tattva vijnanam astute mad anugrahat. Likewise, the Lord is blessing Brahma. Yavanham yata bhavo yadrupa gunakarmakaha, all about Lord's form and his qualities and his activities, everything. Tataiva tattva vijnanam, and as it is, tataiva tattva vijnanam, with the scientific knowledge, vijnanam, astute, and everything will be revealed in your heart, O Brahma, by mad anugrahat. Likewise, Brahma was blessed by the Lord. So after blessing that, the Lord is saying Chatushloki Bhagavata. So in the first shloka, so the Lord spoke the four statements of the Chatushloki Bhagavata. The first statement is, I am the only one all the time existed, present, past, and future. Even though everything is annihilated, I am the only one existed. That is the first statement. Second statement is, whatever is in relation to me that has got a value, which is not connected to me, that doesn't have any value. That is the second statement. Third statement is, like all the materialistic elements, so which are the universal coverings, they exist. At the same time, they enter into the cosmos as well. Similarly, I also create this universe, and but at the same time, I also enter into it, but at the same time, I'm also outside of this. So that is the third statement. And fourth statement is the after so many endeavors, researches, inquiries by a jijnasu, or whoever is inquiring what is the ultimate absolute truth. So at the end, it has come to the Supreme Lord. So that is the fourth statement. So unless one doesn't come to the Krishna as the Supreme Lord, so all his research, inquisitiveness, all his endeavors are useless. That is the fourth statement. And then after saying these four statements, the Lord says to Brahma, saying that Etan matam samatishta paramena samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu na vimuhiti karihichet. O Brahma, you remember all these four shlokas all the time. At any point of time, you will not be bewildered. Likewise, the Lord says. So out of those four statements, so we are now in the second statement, that is so the first statement is aham evasam evagre nanyat yad sad asat param paschadaham edetacha yo avashishyeta sosmyaham. Likewise, first statement, the Lord spoke. So it was discussed in the last session. Okay, so now we are going to enter into the second statement. ऋते अर्धं यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विद्यात् आत्मनो मायां यथा भासो यथा तमः. So here the Lord is saying, so the translation for this verse is, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. So Rutiyadhyam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani. So anything which is not related to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and it doesn't have yata abhaso yata tamaha, which is a reflection which appears to be in the darkness. That is tad vidyat atmano mayam. It is, know it as my illusory energy. So this is the statement, second shloka of the Chatushloki Bhagavata. So we shall see whatever Prabhupada is explaining in the purport. It is a long purport, but we shall go quickly, paragraph by paragraph. We don't want to miss any Prabhupada's words. Okay, so purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the previous verse, it has already been concluded that in any stage of the cosmic manifestation, its appearance, its sustenance, its growth, its interactions of different energies, its deterioration and its disappearance, all has its basic relation with the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as such, whenever there is forgetfulness of this prime relation with the Lord, and whenever things are accepted as real without being related to the Lord, that conception is called a product of the illusory energy. So here, anything which is without being related to the Lord, that conception is called product of the illusory energy. Okay, and illusory energy of the Lord. So because nothing can exist without the Lord, it should be known that the illusory energy is also an energy of the Lord. That right conclusion of dovetailing everything in relationship with the Lord is called Yogamaya, or the energy of union. And the wrong conception of detaching a thing from its relationship with the Lord is called Lord's Daivi Maya, or Mahamaya. Both the Mayas also have connections with the Lord, because nothing can exist without being related to Him. As such, the wrong conception of detaching relationships from the Lord is not false but illusory. So here in this first paragraph, Prabhupada is explaining one is the Yogamaya and another one is the Daivi Maya or Mahamaya. So here this is very beautifully explained in the by Srila Prabhupada in the 10th canto. Whenever the gopis they are trying to worship the goddess Katyayani. So at that time, so Krishna came there, and when they were taking the bath in the Kalindi, the pond, at the time Krishna he steal these garments of the gopi girls. So there, Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport very beautifully about what is Yogamaya, what is Mahamaya. So here Prabhupada is mentioning, according to the various acharyas, the goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not illusory energy of Krishna called Maya, but rather internal potency of the Lord known as Yogamaya. So the distinction between the internal and external or illusory potency of the Lord is described in the Narada Pancharatra in the conversation between Shruti and Vidya. So here he mentions here, so Janat Ekaparakantam Saiva Durga Tadapnika Ya Para Paramasektir Mahavishnu Swarupini Yasya Vijnana Matrena Paranam Paramatmanaha Muhurta Deva Devasya Praptir Bhavati Nanyata and Ekayam Prema Sarvasva Swabhava Gokuleshwari Anaya sulabho jneya adidevo akileshwaraha asya avrika shaktihi maha maya akileshwari asya this is asya avrika shaktihi mahamaya akileshwari yaya mugdham jagat sarvam sarve dehabhimaninah. So this is one is the swabhava gokuleshwari. This is ekayam prema sarvasva swabhava gokuleshwari. Who is gokuleshwari? It is the Radharani. And asya avrika shakti and asya avrika shakti, the covering energy of the this is Radharani. It is Mahamaya Akileshwari. So here, the first paragraph, it is very beautiful purport. So the Lord's inferior potency known as Durga is dedicated to his loving service. Being Lord's potency, this inferior energy is not different from him. There is another superior potency whose form is on the same spiritual level as that of God himself. Simply by scientifically understanding this supreme potency, one can immediately achieve the supreme soul of all souls, who is the Lord of all lords. So there is no other process to achieve him. That supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari. This is Radharani, the goddess of Gokula. Her nature is to be completely absorbed in love of God, and through her one can easily obtain the primeval Lord, the Lord of all that be. This internal potency of the Lord has a covering potency known as Mahamaya, who rules the material world. In fact, she bewilders the entire universe, and thus everyone within the universe falsely identifies himself with the material body. So this is Mahamaya. One is the Radharani and the other one is Mahamaya. Sometimes goddess Durga, she is also called as a Yogamaya. So as Prabhupada is explaining here. Okay, so this is the same personality in two different functions. So here the presiding, in all the mantras to worship Krishna, the presiding deity is known as Durga. So here, okay, the name Durga sometimes used to refer to the internal superior potency. As stated in the Pancharatra, in all mantras used to worship Krishna, the presiding deity is known as Durga. So here Kachayini, and who is acting as a Yogamaya. So the Gopi, here all the Gopi girls, they are worshipping Kachayini. So they wanted son of Nanda Maharaja to become their husband. So, and also later on Prabhupada is also mentioning, and here the internal potency is understood to be Krishna's sister, known also as Ekanamsha or Subhadra. This is Durga, who has worshipped by the gopis in Vrindavana. Several acharyas have pointed out that ordinary people are sometimes bewildered and think that the names Mahamaya and Durga refer exclusively to the external potency of the Lord. So this is very beautiful information, but so just wanted to bring where Prabhupada is explaining clearly on it. About is Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So based on Mahamaya, many people are bewildered. So they will see how they are bewildered. There are two kinds of illusory energy of the Lord. Some people, even though they are needed to that Lord, but they don't understand the Lord's supremacy. For example, in India, so many temples are there. They are nearer to the temple, but they don't go to the temple of Krishna or the Vishnu. So that is called covering energy. That is covering illusory energy. And sometimes some of the living entities, they are very far away from the temples. They do not have information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is throwing illusory energy. So let us see what Prabhupada is explaining here. So misconceiving one thing for another thing is called illusion. For example, accepting a rope as a snake is illusion, but the rope is not false. The rope as it exists in front of the illusion person is not at all false, but the acceptance is illusory. So therefore, the wrong conception of accepting this material manifestation as being divorced from the energy of the Lord is illusion. So, but it is not false. And this illusory conception is called the reflection of the reality in the darkness of ignorance. This is anityam asukam imam lokam. This is kim punar brahmanaha punya bhakta rajayastata. Anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Anityam asukam lokam. This is temporary one, but it is not false. It is temporary. So, and here, Sri Prabhupada is mentioned, it is illusion, but it is not false. So anything that appears as apparently not being produced out of my energy is called Maya. So this is anything that appears as apparently not being produced out of my energy is called Maya. That is illusion. So people, they do not understand that Lord is behind all the creation. That is called Maya. People are put up into the Maya illusion. So the conception that the living entity is formless or that the Supreme Lord is formless is also illusion. So this is some Mayavadis, they mentioned that everything, the Lord doesn't have any form. It is another way of atheism. Another way of atheism. So there is God, but God doesn't have legs. God doesn't have eyes, hands like that. They will, in another way, they reject the Lord personality. So in the Bhagavad Gita 2.12, it was said by the Lord in the midst of the battlefield that the warriors standing in front of Arjuna and Arjuna himself and even the Lord had all existed before they were existing on the battlefield of the Kurukshetra, and they would all continue to be individual personalities in the future also. So they are individual personalities. So we exist in the past, we exist now, and we also exist in the future. So at any point of time, we do not lose our identity. We are individual personalities. So even after the annihilation of the present body, and even after being liberated from the bondage of material existence, so we maintain our individuality. So in all circumstances, the Lord and the living entities are individual personalities. So here today we are given different names. We are existed. So why because we have got a individual identity. That's why we got a name and form and different qualities, different consciousness. This is individuality. So in all circumstances, the Lord and living entities are individual personalities, and the personal features of both the Lord and living beings are never abolished. They continue to exist. Natvevaham jatunasam natva nemi janadipa. So the Lord says here in the Bhagavad Gita, na bhavishamah sarve na vayamatah param. Likewise, we all the time we exist in the past, present, and future. So only the influence of the illusory energy, the reflection of the light in the darkness, the reflection of light in the darkness, can by the mercy of the Lord be removed. So in the material world, the light of the sun is also not independent, nor is that of the moon. The real source of the light is Brahma Jyoti. The real source of the light is Brahma Jyoti. So which diffuses light from the transcendental body of the Lord. And the same light is reflected in varieties of light. So Brahma, and the sun is getting the light, the energy from the Brahma Jyoti, and also the moon, everything. The light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of the fire, or the light of the electricity. Everything comes from the Brahma Jyoti. That is from the transcendental body of the Lord. So the identity of the self as being unconnected with the Supreme Self, the Lord is also illusion. And the false claim, I am the Supreme, is the lost illusory snare of the same Maya, or the external energy of the Lord. And then further, so the Vedanta Sutra in the very beginning affirms that everything is born from the Supreme, and thus, as explained in the previous verse, all individual living entities are born from the energy of the Supreme Living Being, the personality of Godhead, and Brahma himself was born from the energy of the Lord. and all the other living entities are born from the energy of the Lord through the agency of Brahma. None of them has any existence without being dovetailed with the Supreme Lord. So in this material creation, so the first Narayana, so he had with his second Narayana and his second quadruple Vasudeva Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, where that Mahasankarshana, from Mahasankarshana, the expansion of Mahasankarshana is the Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. He is the Jagurehe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadebihi Sampotam Sod Sakalamado Lokasisrukshaya. So with the 16 principles of the creation, so that is the first expansion of the Purusha. The second Purusha is the Yasyam Sayanasya in the Garbhodaka ocean, the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So he resides in the Garbhodaka ocean from his navel, the lotus flowers, the lotus stem, it comes, and where the Brahma is born out of the lotus flower. And using these ingredients of the lotus flower, the Brahma creates he divides into 3 parts and later on 14 parts within that stem, and then he creates the 14 planetary system. So everything is coming from Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So now here the Lord is speaking to Brahma in the 4-handed Narayana form. So Brahma has seen Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu in a different occasion as well. At that time, Brahma has offered so many prayers to Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu also blessed him. Now, Brahma, after his meditation, he is now seeing the Narayana in his 4-handed form, and he is speaking to Narayana. Narayana is speaking here. That Rutyad Bhumyat Pritiyeta Na Pritiyet Chatmani Tad Vidhyadatmano Mayam Yata Bhaso Yata Tamaha. So that Lord is speaking here. And now, even that Brahma was born from the energy of the Lord, and all the living entities are born from the energy of the Lord. So this is living entities or the marginal energy of the Lord. So because they have got desires now, they have got some particular material bodies and experiencing these pains and pleasures. And the Lord has arranged this material universe for all the living entities, the conditioned souls. And then further, Prabhupada is explaining the independence of the individual living entity is not real independence, but is just the reflection of the real independence existing in the Supreme Being, the Lord. The false claim of the supreme independence by the conditioned souls is illusion. And this conclusion is admitted in this verse. So actually, the spiritual world is there where the Lord is enjoying with all his associates. And whereas the material world is the reflection. It is the Buddhamula Madashakam Ashwadham Prahuravayam Chandams Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. So it is the perverted reflection. Buddhamula Madashakam. The root is in the spiritual world. But material world, it is just a reflection. And this is a shadow. Material world is a shadow. It doesn't have a permanent existence. And then Prabhupada is explaining here, persons with a poor fund of knowledge become illusion. And therefore, the so-called scientists, physiologists, empiric philosophers, etc. become dazzled by the glaring reflection of the sun, moon, electricity, etc. And they deny the existence of the Supreme Lord, putting forward theories and different speculations about the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of everything material. So they have got very smaller vision. And as much as they wanted to gratify their senses and become happy with their family and friends and everything, utilize everything perfectly. So that is their short. They do not see the entire cosmic creation and how it is being maintained. So they do not recognize that supreme energy, under whose energy all this Prakriti is running. Mayadhyakshena Prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So, and then further Prabhupada is explaining, the medical practitioner may deny the existence of the soul in the physiological bodily construction of individual person, but he cannot give life to a dead body, even though all the mechanisms of the body exist. even after that death. So this is the soul. Soul is always reside at the heart, which is the 1/10,000 part of the tip of a hair. This is Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Huddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. So Huddeshu Arjuna Tishtati is sitting in the heart of all the living entities. So, but here the physical psychologist makes a serious study of the psychological conditions of the brain, as if the construction of the cerebral lump were the machine of the functioning mind. But in the dead body, the psychologist cannot bring back the function of the mind. These scientific studies of the cosmic manifestation or the bodily construction independent of the Supreme Lord are a different reflective intellectual gymnastics only. So, but at the end, they're all illusion and nothing more. All such advancement of science and knowledge in the present context of material civilization is but an action of the covering influence of the illusory energy. This is covering influence of the illusory energy. So here Prabhupada is explaining. So the illusory energy has two phases of existence, namely covering influence and the throwing influence. Covering influence and throwing influence. Covering influence is people know that there is God, but they do not take to the devotional service and they don't worship the Lord. That is called covering influence. And throwing is they do not have information at all about the Supreme Lord. That is throwing energy. They are very far away, even from the temples or from the spirituality. So here, Prabhupada explaining, by the throwing influence, the illusory energy throws the living entities into the darkness of ignorance. And by the covering influence, she covers the eyes of men with a poor fund of knowledge about the existence of the Supreme Person who enlightened the Supreme Individual Living Being, Brahma. So the identity of Brahma with the Supreme Lord is never claimed herein. And therefore, such foolish claim by the man with a poor fund of knowledge is another display of the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 16.18 18 to 20, that demonic persons who deny the existence of the Lord are thrown more and more into the darkness of the ignorance. And thus such demonic persons transmigrate life after life without any knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the demonic people. And so this is throwing energy. They are thrown more and more into the darkness of the ignorance. And then, so there are further explanations about the acharyas. So, and Prabhupada is bringing here, the same man, however, is enlightened in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, who was personally instructed by the Lord, or in the disciplic succession from Arjuna, who was personally instructed by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. He accepts this statement of the Lord. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaha. So whoever understands that everything comes from the Lord, aham sarvasya prabhu, matta sarvam pravartate, and who knows iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaha. So the Lord is the original source of all emanations, and everything that is created, maintained, and annihilated exists by the energy of the Lord. The same man who knows this is actually learned, and therefore he becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. He is the intelligence. And then further, although the illusory energy of the Lord displays various illusions to the eyes of persons with a poor fund of knowledge, the same person knows clearly that the Lord can act even from far, far beyond our vision by his different energies. Just as fire can diffuse heat and light from a distant place in the medical science of the ancient sages known as the Ayurveda. This is definitive acceptance of the Lord's supremacy in the following words. So here, Jagat Jonehe Anityasya Chid Anandaika Rupinaha Pumso Asti Prakritihi Nitya प्रतिच्छायैव भास्वतः अचेतनापि चैतन्य योगेन परमात्मनः अकरोद्विश्वम् अखिलम् अनित्यं नाटकाकृतिम्. So there is one supreme person who is the progenitor of this cosmic manifestation and whose energy acts as prakriti or the material nature, dazzling like a reflection. By such illusory action of prakriti, even dead matter is caused to move by the cooperation of living energy of the Lord. So, and then the material world appears like a dramatic performance to the ignorant eyes. The ignorant person, therefore, may even be a scientist or psychologist in the drama of Prakriti. So, while the same person knows Prakriti as the illusory energy of the Lord, by such conclusion, as confirmed by the Bhagavad Gita, it is clear that the living entities are also a display of Lord's superior energy, Para Prakriti. Just as the material world is the display of the Lord's inferior energy, it is Apara Prakriti. And the superior energy of the Lord cannot be as good as the Lord, although there is a very little difference between the energy and the possessor of the energy, or the fire and the heat. So, and here, fire is possessed of heat, but heat is not fire. So here giving an example, the sun, so by his potencies, he gives the light and the heat. At the same time, the sun is different from the heat and the light. Likewise, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his energies, he creates the material world, everything, the spiritual and material. At the same time, he is different. So here Prabhupada is giving, fire is possessed of heat, but heat is not fire. This is yata ulmukat vispulinga dhomadvapi swasambhavat api atmatvena yatagnihi pruthak ulmukat. So in the wood, there is a fire already existed. Whenever the wood is burned, so the fire blazings are coming out, smoke comes out, and sparks comes out. But even though everything are coming out, but fire is the only truth. Api atmatven abhimatat yatagnihi pruthak ulmukat. This is fire is the truth, but everything else are that the byproducts. So fire is processed of heat, but heat is not fire. The simple thing is not understood by the man with a poor fund of knowledge, who falsely claims that the fire and the heat are the same. And this energy of the fire, namely heat, is explained here as a reflection and not directly fire. Therefore, the living energy represented by the living entities is the reflection of the Lord and never the Lord himself. So this is Bhutendriya Antahkaranat Pradhana Jiva Sanjita Atma Tata Pruthak Drashta Bhagavan Brahma Sanjitaha. One is the Jiva and another one is the Supreme Lord who exists in the each and every body of the living entity. And being the reflection of the Lord, is the existence of the living entity is dependent on the Supreme Lord, who is the original light. This material energy may be compared to the darkness, as actually it is darkness. And the activities of the living entities in the darkness are reflections of the original light. So it is so much of technical, but it is very beautiful to go through all these things. So the Lord should be understood by the context of this verse. Non-dependence of both the energies of the Lord is explained as Maya or illusion. No one can make a solution of the darkness of ignorance simply by the reflection of light. Similarly, no one can come out of the material existence simply by the reflected light of the common man. One has to receive the light from the original light itself. So, for example, how do we understand the Supreme Lord? When we understand Supreme Lord, for example, when there is a darkness, so we are trying to search for the sun. If the sun is there, do we need torches and lamps to see and find the sun? No, the sun, he himself As soon as he is present, always there is a light. So we do not need torches and lights to find the sun. So by presence of the sun himself, we see the heat, light, and the directly the sun globe and everything else. Likewise, whenever Krishna is present, that is the true nature. So we immediately understand when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, all the people who are associates of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they understand he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when Krishna was present, many of these Vrindavani people unknowingly they are worshipping Krishna. So they do not need separate knowledge. So when Krishna is present, the knowledge is revealed in the heart of all the living entities who are the devotees of the Lord. And here the reflection of sunlight in the darkness is unable to drive out the darkness, but the sunlight outside the reflection can drive out the darkness completely. In the darkness, no one can see the things in a room. Therefore, a person in the dark is afraid of snakes and scorpions. Although there may not be such things, okay, we have got, okay, let me just finish very quickly. So this paragraph. Okay, so therefore, one has to take shelter of the light of the Lord as in the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, and not the reflective personalities who have no touch with the Lord. No one should hear Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam from a person who does not believe in the existence of the Lord. Such a person is already doomed, and any association with such a doomed person makes the associator also doomed. So that is very beautifully is explaining. There is one more one paragraph. I don't know if Mataji, Bhajan, what
It's all right, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. You can finish the last paragraph, and then if Inakshi and Pavni doesn't mind waiting, I'm sure we can start at 1:45, can't we? Will be finished by then?
Yes, Mataji, so it will take 2 minutes. So just wait.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So according to Padma Purana, within the material compass, there are innumerable material universes, and all of them are full of darkness. Any living being, beginning from Brahmas, there are innumerable Brahmas in innumerable universes to the insignificant ant, are all born in darkness, and they require factual light from the Lord to see Him directly. Just as the sun can be seen only by the direct light of the sun, no lamp or man-made torchlight, however powerful it may be, can help one see the sun. The sun reveals itself. Therefore, the action of different energies of the Lord or personality of Godhead himself can be realized by the light manifested by the causeless mercy of the Lord. The impersonalists say that God cannot be seen. God can be seen by the light of God and not by man-made speculations. Here, this light is specifically mentioned as Vidyat, which is an order by the Lord to Brahma. This direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of his internal energy, and this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord face to face. And not only Brahma, but anyone who may be graced by the Lord to see such merciful direct internal energy can also realize the personality of Godhead without any mental speculation. So this is how very beautifully this kind of statement, the four Kumaras, when they have seen the Lord Narayan in the Vaikuntha, at the time they mentioned, so my father has, Brahma has explained to us, now we are seeing the face to face, all our impersonal conception is gone. Likewise they see, so they can see, anyone can see the Lord face to face. So that is the statement of Prabhupada here is mentioned, and here the Lord is saying, Dutiyardham yat pratiyeda na pratiyeda chatmani tad vijjhadatmano mayam yata bhaso yata tamaha. Anything which is not related to me is in complete illusion. So likewise, the Lord says, that is the second Chatushloki Bhagavata. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So I'm happy for to continue the bhajan now.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We have Nakshi and Pavni singing a bhajan today called the Yugal Astakam. Both the sisters are singing and doing the translation. If we can have the translation first and then the bhajan. When you're ready, Nakshi and Pavni, you can start Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Radha is made of pure love for Krishna and Hari is made of pure love of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is the treasure of Krishna and Hari is the treasure of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha pervades the life force of Krishna and Hari pervades the life force of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is totally melted with Krishna and Hari. Radha is totally melted with Krishna and Hari is totally melted with Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is situated in the body of Krishna and Hari is situated in the body of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is fixed in the heart of Krishna and Hari is fixed in the heart of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha wears cloth of blue color and Hari wears cloth of yellow color. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is the mistress of Vrindavan and Krishna is the master of Vrindavan. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Krishna, Prema Mai Radha, Radha, Prema Mai Hari. Krishna, Prema Mai Radha, Radha, Prema Mai Hari. Jivan Radha, Krishna Gati Mama. Jivan Radha, Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Radha Vinam Radha. Radha Yadra Vinam Hari. Krishna Radha Vinam Radha. Radha Yadra Vinam Hari. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Pranamai Radha. Radha Pranamai Hari. Krishna Pranamai Radha. Radha Pranamai Hari. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Dravamai Radha. Radha Dravamai Hari. Krishna Dravamai Radha. Radha Dravamai Hari. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Gehe Sita Radha. Radha Gehe Sita Hari. Krishna Gehe Sita Radha. Radha Gehe Sita Hari. Jivan nityam. Radha Krishna Gati Mama Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Krishna Jita Sita Radha Radha Jita Sita Hari Krishna Jita Sita Radha Radha Jita Sita Hari Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Neelam Radha Neelam Radha Hari Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Vrindavaneshwari Radha Krishna Vrindavaneshwara Vrindavaneshwari Radha Krishna Vrindavaneshwara Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Jivan Radha Krishna Gati Mama Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very beautiful, Mataji. It is so nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mataji. So now we are 53 past 8 o'clock. Dear devotees, before we conclude, do you have got any questions to ask in this particular verse? Tritiyardham yat pratiyeta na pratiyet chapmani tad vidhyadatmanomayam yata bhaso yata tamaha. Anything which is not connected to Krishna, that is in the illusion. Which is connected to Krishna, that has a value in it. So just like a throwing illusory energy and covering illusory energy. These two statements are very, Prabhupada is explaining very beautifully in this verse. If you have got any questions or any additions, kindly share, dear devotees. So if there are no further updates, no additions, no questions, then we shall conclude. And thank you so much, Mataji. It's very beautiful song before we go to the bed. Okay, so if you are happy, we shall conclude.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for your class. Beautiful. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It is very long purport, so we don't have much thing to share. The purport
No.
is the explanation. Yeah.
I know. The next few verses are like that anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. Srila Prabhupada की जय.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Conscious night, everyone.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice class. Hare Krishna, everyone.